Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of On Brand for Muse by Clio. I'm Nicole Purcell, the president of the Clio Awards, and next to me I have my amazing co-host, Mr. Tim Nutt, our editor-in-chief of Muse by Clio. How are you, Tim?
Hey, I'm doing well, Nicole. How are you?
Good afternoon. A little cheers from Napa Valley.
Cheers. I have a beer this time that's not from Maine. It's Founder's Ale. I think it's Michigan, maybe.
Oh, okay, good. At least you're trying other places. That makes me happy.
New horizons, for sure.
Great. Well, I'm very excited for our guest today, so why don't you tell us a little bit about her?
Totally, yeah. We're excited to welcome Stephanie Buscemi. She's the EVP and CMO at Salesforce, the company, of course, out in San Francisco that helps businesses big and small with their CRM and lots of other marketing solutions, and just generally helps guide companies through the ongoing digital transformation, which of course is only accelerated during COVID. And we're particularly excited to welcome Stephanie, as Salesforce is also a partner with us on the On Brand video series. So pleased to welcome Stephanie Buscemi.
Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you all for having me.
Great. I love the flowers behind you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
What I'd love to start to ask everybody is working from home. We know it's crazy. Where are you? Who are you living with? How's it going personally with that whole thing?
Well, you know, when you have a plan, God laughs. So I lived in the same house for 20 years and I sold my home. And the story I told myself was I was going to buy on a high and sell on a low. And the pandemic hit. And so then you can't, for many of you, you probably know, couldn't get into homes or anything. Yep. So I've been sheltering in place in about a third of the square footage that I've been used to for the last 20 years.
Oh my God.
No complaints. Family is happy and healthy, but we're definitely on top of each other.
And where are you? Where are you guys located?
I am just north of San Francisco in Marin County in Tiburon, so about 10 miles north of the city.
Wonderful. And do you guys have plans about going back to the office? How is everything working with your team being home? Like, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, that's an ongoing dialogue every day. I would say prior to the pandemic, we had two things. You know, we, like a lot of other companies, we had work from home employees. That was maybe about 17% of our population globally. And then the rest were assigned to an office. People may or may not go in every day, but for the most part, they did. And now we've really have everyone working from home. And we're looking at when we come out of this, when it is okay to reopen safely, which is different in every city around the globe, as you know. We think we'll go to more of a hybrid where people will be assigned to an office, but given the need for ongoing social distancing and just the precautions we'll need to put in place, we'll likely go back where people are going, call it 3 days a week into the office. If you think about it, I'll just use San Francisco as an example. Yeah. So many of our employees go to our tower there and they've got to rely on mass transit, BART, trains, ferries. That's a lot of people in a group space. So it's not even just putting the precaution of social distancing in our office. It's what we're asking our employees to do even with their commute. So we're reimagining the offices. We're looking at ways to make them more intentional, knowing that when people come in, they're probably less likely to come in just to work from a desk. They're coming there to collaborate. Yes. They're coming there to iterate, to brainstorm, all of that. And so we're imagining our spaces to allow for a lot more of that. Right now, everyone's at home. We will start having slowly a very phased approach starting in October into our offices. But we're really not pushing employees. A lot of people know that their kids are going to be getting schooled from home for this new school year. And so we're really just trying to make sure we look at the big picture of what's going on personally and professionally and allowing the employees to kind of structure what's going to work best.
No, we're based in New York City and I'm right here in Columbus Circle. So the transportation, all of that makes me more nervous than anything right now. So I want to be careful, but has your process and culture changed with your team since this has happened, or is it kind of, flowing great?
I'm blown away. I would say productivity is off the charts. We call it work from home, and then everyone's like, "Are you sure this isn't work from my home? Work from office?" People are super, super productive. If anything, right now, really try to work with people to balance like mental and physical, and make sure that everyone's creating space to like take care of themselves, go for walks, do different things. We all have this fatigue of being on screen and just trying to be hypersensitive to that. I've even said to people on my team, we know each other. If we're doing a one-on-one, put in your earbuds and go for a walk, and I'll talk to you while you're on a walk. Just ways to break it up. So the team is super engaged, very, very productive. I think we've just had to change the ways that we have to create shorter, more frequent interactions with one another. It's almost replacing what would have been that hallway or like kitchen room chat. And so my leadership team used to meet, more of like a traditional weekly staff meeting. And now, we have a daily stand-up. And sometimes we have a lot to talk about, and sometimes we have a little, but it's a way just to keep us really on the pulse and connected to one another.
Stephanie, obviously the last 5 months have been unlike anything else we've ever been through. I know Salesforce was, very quick to realize the severity of the crisis and the impact that it would have on businesses that are trying to digitize. Can you tell us what your immediate response was focused around during the early days of the pandemic, and sort of how that changed over time?
Yeah, I think very, very first was our employees and their families. Just making sure that people were safe and people were protected and all of that. We wanted to make sure they were okay so that they could then be in a good place to help customers. I remember coming together with the leadership team very early and saying, all right, the world has changed on us overnight. What's the path forward? And it's kind of ironic because we started our new fiscal year February 1. So here we'd spent all of January writing our annual plans, and all of this felt nicely had solidified, and then all of this hit. So it really threw everything up in the air. And what I would say did is, not just as a marketing team, as a company, we went back to the core values of the company. For 21 years, the company has had the same core values. There's 4 things. It's trust, customer success, innovation, and equality. And I know all companies have those, but I will say in the pandemic, they're stress tested. Like, is it a plaque on the wall, or is it something that you truly live by? And it is something we truly live by. We use it for every decision. Is it a product decision? Is it a marketing decision? Is it sales? And so when we applied those values, we're like, what does customer success look like right now? It's really different. People are like in the most, basic survival mode, kind of like how to keep their businesses running, how to sell from home, service from home, market from home. And so we applied and said, we want to make sure during this time we're most relevant. And if we can't be relevant to our customer, we need to get the hell out of their way. Otherwise, it's going to be tone deaf. And that meant we went back as a marketing organization across the company, and we audited all of those roadmaps and those plans for our fiscal year. And we kind of put them in 3 buckets, where we said tone deaf, not relevant, not what the customer needs right now. Some things like, this could be useful now, maybe we need to modify. And then a new bucket, which was, what do they need that we don't have for them? And how can we become relevant? And I think we've shocked ourselves at what we could do during that time. Our CEO says crisis is opportunity, and I don't mean it sort of like it's an opportunity to look at everything you're doing. And we looked at it and spent the first 10 days going to all of our customers, trying to understand the steel threads of what they needed. And they all needed the most basic things to do crisis management. And then they all quickly pivoted to how will they reopen safely? And so we grabbed engineers, we grabbed product managers, marketers, everyone literally on a Friday, and we told them when they came back into work on Monday, we're going to build a contact tracing app. We're going to build a shift management app. We're going to build an employee response management app. And so we built something called work.com, which is actually a family of applications to handle the crisis, to do all the crisis management, to help reopen safely. Never did I thought we would be building a contact tracing app. I'm like, oh, we're #1 CRM. That's what we do. But it became that is what our customers needed. And we've pivoted to that really, really quickly. And I think we're proud of it. I mean, our work's never done, but we've done things we never thought we could do that quickly.
Yeah, it sounds like you leaned on the innovation pillar pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Not just with work.com, but you've had Salesforce Anywhere, Salesforce Cares, and then I think you've also recently introduced work.com for schools, which is on everyone's mind at the moment, of course. What could you delve a little more deeply into what those solutions involve and how you sort of balance helping businesses with remote working and also helping them with reopening?
Yeah. So the first one was Salesforce Cares, and Salesforce Cares is just immediate rapid response. It was taking existing functionality and capabilities in our product, packaging what that functionality was and giving it to businesses for free. In particular, we have a huge number of small and medium business customers who really needed this, and there was no time there to go through a selling motion, to price it, to go through a transaction. They just needed access. So Salesforce Care is basically a free 90-day usage of capabilities to help them manage. So we got that. That was really the first thing that we did. In parallel, we were developing work.com. A lot of work.com, the command center, anyone here can go to work.com with their browser. While it is a family of applications for reopening safely, there's a ton of best practices, content, partner information, trials, things out there that are for free that people can use. We saw it as, how do we create sort of a destination site where people can go and get access to these applications? Some of them vertical orientation by industry, some of them horizontal. And so that was really, really focused on reopening safely. In addition, what we've been doing specific is going back with our core solutions for sales, service, marketing, commerce, and industries, and packaging up, how do you sell from anywhere? How do you service from anywhere? How do you market from anywhere? I mean, when Salesforce was created 21 years ago, the idea was that salespeople, we needed to automate it, and make it easy for a salesperson to manage the relationship with the customer. Right. That vision, that mission hasn't changed in 21 years. All we've done is acknowledge that the complexity of customer interaction, that there's so many more touch points with a customer beyond just the sales interaction. There's the marketing, the service. And so we've just continued to look at what are all those relationship touch points and package up those capabilities. Right now, we're focusing on showing our customers all of that is digital. What if all of that is automated in business processes? What is all of that is digitized? What if all of that can you automate, maybe even tasks that you don't need to be doing, that you can have a voice assistant, as an example, follow up for you? We see tons of customers. I was on yesterday a CMO circle with a handful of CMOs in our Asia Pacific area, and they had switched in this time as a retailer. They switched to commerce. They had a commerce site, but it was disproportionately retail. Everything switched to commerce. They saw a massive surge on their contact centers, getting calls into their contact center, and they switched to our automated voice technology, and it allowed them to take 40% more in days calls into that service center. They never would have been able in the pandemic to be able to scale that in their service center, go out and hire that many more agents. So that's just one example.
That's amazing how much you guys are helping those businesses. Something that I loved that you guys had created was Leading Through Change, the series with business leaders and musicians. I'm curious to hear, number one, why'd you come up with that? How did it work? And what did you guys learn from it as well, from the conversations?
Yeah, there's a product conversation, like what I was just talking about. How do you automate? How do you accelerate digitally through the pandemic? But there's also the softer side of just making human connection and keeping one another informed and inspired during this time. It's a bit overwhelming. And so Leading Through Change is a series. We have about 8.5 million viewers every week on Leading Through Change. We have over 20 episodes that have happened to date, and we put it in place to do storytelling, to showcase through a set of content and the virtual event series on a weekly basis to showcase how people are managing through the pandemic. Stories of leadership to inspire one another and inform and educate one another. It's leveled the playing field. I don't know anyone who's managed through a pandemic before.
Right.
So we're all at sort of the same
learning.
place. And the most important thing we can do is get information on a weekly basis out to our customers to go identify these amazing stories that of things, transformation people are doing, and then get these people and elevate them so they tell these powerful stories through the series. We've gotten phenomenal feedback on it because people are like, wait a minute, it's not just generic kind of thought leadership, like business leadership. There's millions of books out there with generic stuff. It's very here and now focused on how people are managing their employees through change. How are they dealing with meeting all the health protocols? How are they reimagining a direct selling organization that is now working from home? How are they rethinking their marketing mix? Us as an example, our marketing mix was about 60% in-person events, live events.
Right.
That came to a screeching halt, and many of our customers. Yeah. So Leading Through Change is, like I said, it's inspiration, it's education, and it's very much focused on here and now relevant stories. Like, this is what this company did 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, and also making sure that people have some vulnerability in it. Like, it's not just all sunshine and roses. It's
not all great out there right now.
Challenges, as well as addressing some of the macro issues around us. Like, you can't be talking about what's going on in your company and not be acknowledging what's going on with the racial injustices around us. So providing education on these larger topics that are really impacting us in big ways.
And what is the music tie-in? Why was that important to have the music tie-in? I know why music is important, because we have Clio music, or, it's so important, but why for this series?
Yeah, we call it the Salesforce tapestry. We talk about, like, what are all the threads and things that make up a Salesforce experience and event. And we always want it to be about community building and bringing people together for positive change. And music is always that. It's the international language. People love music, and this is a trying time. And so we've ended every series with an artist. These artists are available. They're in their homes. They
want to be out there. Yeah,
they really do. They really do. And their music is powerful, and it makes people feel better, and it brings some joy to people. It makes people more connected. And so that's why we do that.
I love it. I love it. Some other great partnerships from the media side, like with NBC, Jimmy Fallon, and BET. You've been raising a lot of money for causes. How does that fit into your marketing strategy, and what made you want to do those as well?
Yeah, a couple of things. Before even the pandemic, I've sort of felt that sort of traditional brand advertising for us wasn't necessarily the most effective way to put so much focus on that. I feel like the way things are moving with the internet, the explosion of data, just sort of the viral nature of things, is that it's about going to the unexpected, going where outside of kind of the four walls of your corporate website and your your canned ad. It's really about getting out to people in the community, co-creating content with them. And so I started to look at how are ways can we drive awareness for Salesforce and while communicating our values, while also engaging with others. So it's not just the brand talking about the brand.
Right.
And Jimmy Fallon, as well as the Black entertainment work that we did, was really our opportunity to show that we are about our values of equality. And we do want to participate in those conversations. And we do want to show content out there that puts Black people in the most positive light.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and that's particularly on the Black entertainment, is sometimes, not to be tangential on that, I feel like there's so many sad stories out there, rags to riches stories. And yet there's so many amazing, powerful stories of Black people and Black leaders out there. And as marketers, we're storytellers and we're amplifiers. And so we looked at it and said, we got to help balance all the sad stories and elevate these amazing Black leaders out there by creating content that showcases their story so people can see it.
Love it.
Stephanie, I'm wondering from your vantage point, and you guys work with so many brands, can you give us a few sort of critical things that businesses need to consider, as they do continue down this path of digital transformation that's really been forced on everybody?
Yeah, I think there's a couple key things. I think first is speed matters right now. I can tell you I experienced it firsthand. And I think right now everyone feels this angst to go faster, but I'm not sure all companies are going back and actually really looking to reimagine the way they work. And so I think right now we all need to use this as a time to innovate and reimagine the way that we're working. So I don't think that'll get done overnight, but I think every business has to take themselves to task and do that. I'll give you an example of my own. I said 60% of our marketing activity was live events, and that came to a screeching halt. If I look back to March, one of the first events that we did in this digital format, the team did a Herculean amount of work to convert an annual event of 10,000 people that was going to be held in Sydney and make it an 80,000 person event. But even when I look back on it, I do cringe a little bit because I can see how much we retrofitted a live event and shoved it into a digital. And so I've had to go back with the team and say, this isn't just about taking our live events and shoving them into a digital construct. I need you to reimagine. I need it to be digital first. And of course, there's digital experience and expertise, but all of us are stretching ourselves and coming up with new ways. We're trying new technologies. So I just think every business has to look at all of their business processes and the way that they do things, and get the mirror out. Be really kind of hard on yourself to say, am I just retrofitting in the pandemic, or am I really using this as an opportunity to reimagine my business? And I think another key area is data. We've always talked about data, the explosion of data, how much data is accessible. And some of the most amazing stories I've seen right now in leading through change are those customers that, with a forcing function of a pandemic, tapped into their data like they never had before. There's all these data silos across companies, and some of the leading edge ones are getting that single source of truth and integrating their data. But there are many who are talking about it and had 3 or 5 year roadmaps. And it's been amazing to see companies that just said, it has to happen now. And this created a forcing function for them to look and organize their data differently. Those are the companies that are getting the answers. They don't have to sit together for hours trying to guess, because they're getting the insights from the data. They're getting what the customer needs, and they're able to respond a lot faster. I don't see how a company could sustain without tapping into that data and insights. It has to be kind of a key ingredient in how you formulate your strategy and your path forward.
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm just wondering are there any brands or customers of yours or just brands in general that you could point to as who are doing a really great job during this, really difficult time?
Yeah, there are a lot of great customers out there doing amazing things. I'll take one example is, travel, transportation, and hospitality. Wow, brutal, hit hard as an industry. Expedia, hotels.com, customer of ours, their ability to go ahead and automate their service centers overnight, leveraging the product to be able to take on, 10,000 more calls at a clip. That's an example. Looking at other customers who are taking and using personalized email and journeys at scale to go, this is how you can engage with us and manage through a pandemic. I think what people are doing that's most interesting is they're taking the data, they're getting an insight about what the customer needs, and then they're automating that. They're automating the response rather than trying to manually respond to it. So whether that's automating a marketing interaction, automating the experience when they're online on your site, on a commerce transaction. I mean, I'll give you another example right now. Adidas, phenomenal customer, go to their website, top to bottom, run by Salesforce. You can imagine the influx of online shopping. It was always their number one store, growing 60% year over year, always the number one store, but it's astronomical, the scale that they're doing on that site right now. They have to now be tapping into, to keep it going and grow sales, personalized recommendations. So when you're on that site, it is doing lookalike modeling. It is understanding like buyer behaviors, and it is constantly serving up. It is doing what someone in the store would have done. That's like, oh, you're getting that sweatshirt. Have you seen these hats? Everyone's got this sweatshirt. It is doing all of that in an automated fashion at a massive scale.
It's very difficult to predict anything that's going to happen. I think predictions have come and gone over the last 5 months.
Yes.
But as you guys look to sort of the next 6 months of the year, what is the business going to look like for you, and how do you plan on sort of continuing to innovate to meet your customers' needs?
Yeah, I think one, staying true to our values. Two is continuing to keep our customers really close and moving more and more to co-creation with our customers. We call what are our MVPs trailblazers. These are the people who are doing really transformative things with Salesforce, transforming their careers personally, professionally. We have over 1.5 million trailblazers in our trailblazer community right now. And we engage with them to co-create content for marketing, to co-create product. And I think that human connection and that interaction with them is the holy grail. Like more and more of that. For example, in engaging with them on creating product, we have created a scalable way with our ideas exchange. Every single customer has access to the ideas exchange. It doesn't matter how much they've spent with Salesforce. It's democratic. Everyone gets the same amount of tokens per se, and they go in and they have full transparency into what we're building, 3 releases per year. And they can put in and see what others are putting in the asks, and they can see where their asks are in our burn down list of what we're building in the product. And yeah, sometimes people are going to see that what they want first isn't going to be first, and it's a couple releases out. But most often not, people just want to know. So you set their expectations. And they're really appreciative because they can see that their vote is cast. They can see where it landed. They can see when it's coming. And they can see their fingerprints all over the product. I mean, I've had countless times people say to me, when something's announced in a release, I put that in that release. Like they'll literally say, I was part of putting that in this release. Mm-hmm. That to me is co-creation. That to me is continued community building. And that's how we're going to run every facet of the company is together with the community.
Stephanie, it's so great to speak with you today. We greatly appreciate it. This has been so fascinating. We're truly honored to have you as a partner of ours. So thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck with the house and everything. And hopefully things move forward during this time. And we just want to say thank you again and have a great afternoon. I know you're West Coast, so you're not going to do that with us. But Starbucks, love it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
I appreciate being with you. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Awesome, Ting. West Coast always have, the non-alcoholic, but cheers to you, my friend.
Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. For the latest on creativity and creative news every day, check out musebyclio.com. And we're back every Thursday with new episodes of On Brand. Thanks for watching.